Okay, so I was 10 years old when I was molested. That was the exact time that my childhood was snatched from me. Now, this wasn't done by a stranger, not at all. This was absolutely done by someone that should have never had access to me. Now, I told my birther, right? Okay, because that's what you're taught. When something like that happens, you go tell an adult, you go tell someone that you trust. I not only told her, but I told quite a few of other people that are related to her, like her sisters. You'll also find that as I'm sharing this, I will never call her the M word because she doesn't deserve it. And neither do the people that knew that it happened, who are also parents of children that helped her cover it up. But don't worry, I'm going to introduce them all to you. But instead of holding on to me, who was absolutely violated at 10 years old by a 50, 60 something year old man that she was very aware of, she chose to hold on to a lie. He admitted what he did. After I told her what happened, she contacted him, had him on speaker, and he absolutely admitted what he did, along with several other excuses as to why it was done, and he was so sorry and he wasn't thinking. But she chose to hold on to the lie and to him, who, by the way, was married, and we found out he was equally molesting his own daughter. It didn't matter though, because she continued to look in my face and she continued to choose denial over protection. She chose silence over truth, and she definitely chose her image over my innocence. Now, it didn't just stop there, okay? She didn't just ignore what happened. She turned around and made me the enemy and started recruiting other family members, telling them all types of things about me that they easily, very easily listened to and believed. While when her back was turned from them, she was in my face smiling, skinning, grinning, crying, "I'm so sorry, I should have never done. Please don't tell people, what would they think about me?" But then when she gets back around her family, I'm the worst person in the world, and they all went right along with it. Over time, I began to realize that she was planting the seed, just in case I decided to grow up and start telling people what actually happened in my childhood. That way, no one would believe me. And I think the worst part about it is they went right along to help her do it. All so that no one would look at this family to say how corrupt, how demented they really are. So I wasn't just abused at such a tender young age, but I was discredited and I was dismissed, all because she allowed some married man to come in and introduce a sexual act to me. And instead of her addressing it and getting me away from him, she didn't want to lose her man that was married. Now, I know many of you understand how it feels to have a truth that no one wants to hear because someone else created a narration for you just to make sure that they're okay. No one can believe what you're going to say. To walk into a room and have a group of people that's considered to be family, okay? I don't consider them family anymore, okay? They're just blood relatives. We just so happen to come out of a coochie of someone that's related to another. But to already villainize you, when majority of them know exactly what happened. They know what altered your life, what affected you at childhood. But if it's going to make our family look bad or make us look bad, then we would rather ostracize and mistreat the person being abused and literally protect the ones that's doing the abuse, that's providing the abuse. How demented is that? I stayed silent for so long because it seemed like that silence was a whole lot safer than the betrayal. But then as I grew in my career and ended up becoming a professor on a university level and having to work with students, adult students, and some, teens just coming out of coming out of high school, I'm hearing the same story. And it's always at the hands of an unhealed Black mother that instead of just going to get help, admitting where they're wrong, they will continue to selfishly make that child go through stuff, not just from when they were a kid, but even as adults in their adulthood. They're doing little stuff that this woman used to do as well to me. Not even realizing that after some time, I actually was watching her. Paid attention to some of the stuff because I have a philosophy that says, I let people do what they want to do. I don't say much because then you'll always let me know what you're willing to do. Well, guess what? Her and her sisters and a lot of her other nieces and nephews, they showed me what they were willing to do. Most of them knew the truth, but they showed me where their cold heart was and what they were willing to do just for optics, just so that someone wouldn't find out what they allowed. Well, guess what? I'm not that 10-year-old girl anymore. I'm not that little girl whose voice felt like it wasn't being heard or her feelings weren't being understood, because the woman that ushered her into this world needed a man so badly that she allowed a 50 to 60-year-old man to introduce sex to her little girl's little bitty body, and she did absolutely nothing about it but lie and then lie again and then lie some more. She also recruited her son, who was equally being molested. Didn't protect him either. Seemed that he kind of enjoyed it a little bit because he started joining in with her. She has sisters, one of which is a fucking preacher, standing on the pulpit, who was very aware. And I know she was aware because I told her. I talked to her for years. 2 of them that I talked to for years still protected the sister. I'm also doing this for the ones that are out there that are trying to make peace with their past. You don't have to speak up. It's okay. I don't have a problem speaking up because, again, I'm not that little 10-year-old girl anymore. But I'm definitely going to get my story out there, and I'm going to introduce you to the players. We have a whole cast up here. This is the type of attention that they like. This is the type of attention they are about to get. Now, this is your story too. Please know that you are not alone. And yes, I do believe you. Now, let me introduce you to the cast, okay? They want some attention. We're going to give it to them. Now, you probably can't see this as clearly, but don't worry. I'm going to read the names to you because heaven forbid they miss their, curtain call, okay? 1 second. The first name is Carol Scott. She lives in Bartlett, Tennessee, okay? She's a overt narcissist, the one that will throw the rock and hide her hand. And if you confront her, she'll say, "Oh, not me. I would never." But she would, because remember, her married man was 50 to 60 years old, and she proudly gave up her daughter with no problem just to keep her man. The next one is Stephen Scott. He lives in Arlington, Tennessee, but he works at Jim Carrey's Nissan on Covenant Pike. He is the one that, when I was a kid, would stick a mirror under the door when I was in the bathroom, either showering or trying to get dressed, to see me with no clothes on. He was also being abused, but I think he began to enjoy it because instead of him doing anything to maybe protect me, he started looking at me. Ugh. Anyway, the next one is his wife, Marsha Scott. Also lives in Arlington, Tennessee. I have no idea where she works. She's probably still putting boxes and things up for Walmart. She was aware of all the abuse, but because the 2 of them have mentally abused this woman for years, she just started to join them. You know, that whole thing. If you can't beat them, join them. That's her. Marsha, Peppa Pig Scott. The next is the preacher. Her name is Alma Ray Johnson, okay? Now, she knows, and I know she knows, because for years I went and talked to her on my own, shared everything that I was going through, not only my molestation, but I also talked to her about what I was going through with her sister and the things that she was doing that was not right, the lies that she was telling. Do you think she did anything about it? No, she just got her ass right back on that pulpit like a lot of preachers I've heard about. And when they know that something like that has happened, they just keep on preaching. They do nothing to help. Pastor Johnson right there. Here, Sheila. Guess who she is? This is the preacher's daughter. I told her when I was 14 because she shared some information with me that was private, so I thought we were tight enough for me to share with her. No, she just gossiped. She did nothing to help. And at the time, I was 14, but she was a grown woman. The next person is another sister of the birther, Ethelene Owens, who also lives in Oakland, Tennessee. When I told her, because I lived in her house, she just laid me across her lap and patted me on my head and told me I'll be all right. What do you think that she did? She commenced to gossip about it. Now, if you guys know anything about generational trauma, none of this stuff is shocking. Instead of them doing anything to help the person that was being abused, they just continued to proceed to help, protect the abuser. Generational trauma. I'm not done. Then we have Joanne Scary Ass Brewster. She lives in Boulder, Colorado. Now, out of all the sisters of the birther, she knew everything because of the fact that she is the only one that asked additional questions. She wanted to understand, why was I taken from Carol? Why did my dad not allow her to get me back for 2 years? She knew everything, but because she's so scary, she didn't do anything. She didn't say anything. Next one, Cassandra Powell Bellward, the messiest low self-esteem of them all. This is one of the women that, those older women at work that will go and nitpick at people and do stuff to people. And then when you say something to her, it's like, oh, I didn't do anything. But I know she did, because I was one of the ones that she would come to write a letter for her to give to HR, because she had done something, but she didn't want to get in trouble for it. She was one of the ones that helped ostracize me. She would call me for help, act like she, was cared and everything, but she played a role. So did Doodoo Breath right here, Pam Smith. Now, if you know, you know. This woman, I've never seen somebody that's so pretty, but beyond ugly, because of how nasty her attitude is, how negative she is. She played a role with all of them, helping continue to hide the lie or to hold on to the lie. All right, so now that we have the key players, and there's some more, but those people weren't even worth me even talking about. I'm talking about the ones that even skinned and grinned in my face. The one that actually traveled here, acted like she was coming to have a good time with me, but she was actually coming to get some intel to report back. But I'm going to tell my story, not just for my 10-year-old self, but for those out there that are trying their best to make peace with their past. But we have a whole lot of people that are toxically affected by generational trauma, and they keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, and they get help from the pastors and the preachers and the uncles and the aunts and those that have an ability to help, but they won't, because all they know was exactly what was done to them, so they repeat it. So let's talk about it.